All right, everybody. We
Let's
are
go.
back in action in 2020. Here we go. Mr. Russman, start us off.
What's going on, guys? We are back in action in 2020. It's us
There you
here
go.
at the Duke Post Game Report, brought to you by Relive Sports. My name is Eric Russman. I am the Everything Nice, and here with me is my sugar and spice, Maurizio Martinovich and Justin Loschiali.
It gets better and better. I don't
It
even.
does.
I just
And you just thought of that like 10 minutes ago too.
not
This
even.
is what
Not
goes
even.
on in here.
Yeah, I mean, you're just like the comedy writer over there in the corner. It's freaking
Yeah,
phenomenal.
it's hard to turn off. Hard to turn off.
Yeah, please don't. Anyway, you know what else is hard to turn off is apparently losing for North Carolina. That's been really hard to turn off for them. We're gonna start the show having fun at North Carolina's expense because that's basically what we do here on a Duke broadcast. Here, full disclosure, I did not cut these highlights. I just took them from Sports Center because it was a really late night last night after the game and after the stream. But I sent around that article where Roy is like, "This is the least gifted team I've ever coached," and I was like, "Why would you say that?" It's the admission of how terrible you are.
I
Like,
don't know.
but
I have
it
no
only
idea.
gets better because it's against Pittsburgh here, which
Mhm.
Duke alum Jeff Capel, head coach, he got a contract extension
2
for
years.
2 years, exactly.
Mhm.
So
Nice.
clearly the message is beat UNC, get contract extension. And here you have Coach Clapp, like, Jason Garrett over there in Dallas, trying to encourage, his North Carolina Tar Heels who aren't talented at all. I bet he's got timeouts left. Yeah, look at that. He's got 3 timeouts left. There's a minute 10 to go. Like, this is real life here, people. Look at this.
They were up by what, 12 at halftime?
Yes.
Yeah.
They were winning the game.
And this was Pitt's first road ACC win in I think 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, this is UNC at home. It's just,
Yep.
it's almost getting to the point where, like, instead of having like UNC upset alert, we got to have a UNC might actually win this one alert.
UNC win alert. Look at that. He's got 3 timeouts. There's no way you take 3 timeouts in a minute. It just doesn't happen. And then Pitt goes on to win the damn thing, 73-65, which oddly enough is more or less the score from our game. So, and yeah, that was the rest of this of that highlight there. But what
I've heard of like coaches making like kind of like negging their team a little bit in the media to just try to like fire them up, but usually it's just like we just didn't play hard enough tonight, or we're playing weak right now, like something that's like changeable, like something that someone gets fired up. But like talent, like talent's like usually the thing, like you can't change talent, you can like work harder, but like just we're the least talented team. Like nothing you can do about that. Like as a player, like wow, I guess I can't go to the talent store. But
I love it.
They don't sell that. No, they don't sell. Well, it was interesting. Some of the players actually went out and defended Roy and said, "Yeah, we're not that good. We're not a good team. Like we need to do better. We need to play harder. XYZ, XYZ." So that was interesting. But I don't know. So way back when UNLV was like unbeatable and we took them down in what the final
90?
Yeah.
90 maybe?
I think so. So Coach K actually went out and basically claimed that UNLV was they were the favorites, they're unbeatable. I don't know how we're gonna beat, and then of course we went and pulled off the upset. In private, he told the team, "Hey guys, heads up. I'm basically going to butter them up as much as I can in the media, but understand, I think you guys are going to win." So I don't know if Roy did something like that too behind the scenes and said, "Hey guys, I'm going to start telling everybody this. This is what I really mean. But hey, I currently am not in the UNC locker room, so I do not."
I think what he really means is that they just suck.
Yeah,
like,
I would.
That's it.
I second that motion.
Because not only did they lose, and here's the segue, not only did they lose yesterday to Pittsburgh, they also, while we were down in South Beach, well, not quite South Beach, let's call it Coral Gables, and beating up on Miami by 30, they went ahead and, where are my highlights? Hold on. Ah, there they are. All right, here we go. They went ahead and lost to Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Which was our game last night. And if you joined us on the live broadcast, thank you very much. And if you're back, that's awesome. But in any case, so here we go. Duke versus Georgia Tech in Atlanta, the second straight road game for our Blue Devils after pounding Miami on the weekend while UNC was losing to these guys. So who are you going to go to? It's Vernon Carey and Trey Jones to get things started. Just Mr. Consistency all throughout the season. Duke's going to find itself down, however, here 6-14. Nice and one in and amongst the Wasps. Then great ball movement here. That is classic Duke. The hockey assist, as Jay Billis would call it, to AOC. Nice three in the corner. And now Stanley! Oh, my goodness. We're going to see a lot more of this kid later on in the highlights. Matthew Hurt here for three. This one, the cameraman loses this one. It goes up to the moon and somehow falls in. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Duke tied up here, and Javin DeLaurier with the slam to finally break the tie. And now Duke starts rolling here in the first half. We're going to have a pick and roll executed to absolute perfection. I mean, that is textbook if I've ever seen it. Beautifully done by Goldwire and Carey. And here, finally, the defense starts picking up. Goldwire's going to dunk. Nope, not quite.
No.
Little man can't quite get that one to go. Duke going to take an 11-point lead into the locker room after Matthew Hurt drills that three. Actually, it's going to be a Trey Jones two-pointer, basically. And now a little sloppy here. It's only a 5-point game at this point, and here this is going to be a turnover. Trey Jones going to intercept it. Got two Yellow Jackets down on that end of the floor. They go splat, and at this point, Matthew Hurt, huge three-pointer. Great swing here. But Duke is going to forget how to play basketball for about 4 minutes in this game. There's the Alvarado 3, and here's a Devo 3, and now it's 51-50, and you're like, what the hell is going on? We're losing the game. Wow. And here's Cassius Stanley, who says absolutely not. Every night it's like a different person rising to the occasion. Last night it was Cassius Stanley who put the T on his back and just refused to lose. Here's the acrobatics on this one, but wait. There's more, because Cassius Stanley's going to drive this one. Look at this, in and amongst the swarm of the Yellow Jackets. Everybody just taking pictures at this point. Beautiful three-pointer here by Jack White, who finally hits a three. Nice, Duke leading by one, and now with the Jets! Look at that! It even turned, his shoes even turned on that one. Just cleared for re-entry on this one, on the encore. Now, 2-point game with Duke under 3 minutes to go. Trey Jones going to steady the ship. He wants a foul on that one, doesn't get it, but that's okay. Now with some defense here, Georgia Tech going to try to put that one up. That is no good. Banks with the rebound. Banks can't get it either. And then the littlest man on the court, Trey Jones, on his birthday, no less, drops that, gets that one to go. And then with the beast water, yes, look at this, with the fingertips, Javin DeLaurier. And the huge defensive play that Duke defense picks it up there, and it is 73-64, basically a mirror image of that North Carolina score. But the Duke Blue Devils taking it 4-0 in the ACC. Not bad. 2 consecutive road wins. Granted, this wasn't a 30-point blowout like we've been doing for the rest of the season, but still a hard-fought win.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting game. I mean, kind of the back and forth, but also just like a different flow of the game. I mean, it started off like relatively close, and we actually got down by a few points kind of early, and then we just all of a sudden just opened up on Georgia Tech. It just kind of came out of nowhere and went way up. I mean, there's that stretch there where we were just laying it up and dunking it for like 5 minutes straight to close out the half.
Yeah,
looked like we were going to run away with it. And then we actually came back, started the second half, and it was fine. Like, we gave up a little bit plus or minus, but we didn't like, give up a crazy run sometimes like we have in the past. We actually played a decent start to the half. It was actually like the middle 10 minutes of the half, which typically is where we do even or fine with the team, and it comes down to the beginning or end of the half. But it was actually the middle, which is the weird part that we kind of slacked off, and then we got to that end stretch and we turned it back on again, like flipping a switch. And
the last 4 minutes of the half were flawless.
Yeah.
And then, like, we were watching this thing live yesterday here on YouTube, like live streaming it, and we were losing our minds. Like, wait, what team are we?
What is
We
happening?
were like, we were saying, people in chat saying like, this is the SF Austin Duke. We're like, what? What is happening?
Yeah, we struggled with keeping people in front of us. I don't know what it was, but it was such a physical game. Vernon Carey ended up having 4 fouls by the 11 or 12 minute mark in the second half, which is kind of horrific for us if you really think about it. That's not something that we want as a trend at all, but I think that's just a one. But they played us very physically. Like they were ready with a lot of confidence, and give them credit. They deserve to have a lot of confidence. They went into UNC and absolutely smacked them and basically beat UNC in the first half, and the rest of the game didn't matter.
Yeah, they
and
were up by
I think
23 points or 26
Yeah, it
within
was
the
bad.
first like 10 minutes at Carolina. And they ended up winning by 13, as you said. The rest of the game just didn't matter.
And so they're a very athletic, scrappy, but still talented team. And I think that athleticism gave us a little bit of a trouble. And then when they came swing, then in the second half, the start of the second half, we kind of hung around. And then I don't know what happened in that middle. Like, we were making very uncharacteristic plays. We were throwing the ball straight out of bounds. We had a breakaway or a 2-on-1, and I think we turned it over. Trey Jones turned it over, and I'm like, wait, what is happening right now? But that's when Cassius Stanley came in and used his athleticism to steady the ship a little bit.
And somehow he has Iron Man jets coming out of his shoes because
Yes.
Man, I mean, look at this. Look at this, chat. If you weren't around for the highlights, I mean, it's worth another look here because this doesn't happen every day. No, it's going to be on this one. You know, somebody, and here he goes. This is it. Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! I missed like.
He grabbed that with one hand.
He grabbed it with one hand.
I saw a quote. They were asking like Trey Jones, especially on the first breakaway alley-oop that kind of started off this whole segment, and they were like, how do you like see Cassius Stanley going, and how do you make that pass? And he goes, "Oh, I just throw it where I know no one else can get it." Like that airspace is only cleared for him. I mean, nobody is catching that. Like no one is
unbelievable.
Even if this guy was right on him, no one is going to be able to run and explode that. Even the one dunk where he drove and dunks on them. I mean, he's doing like an extended drive. It takes a long step with his left foot, but has the athleticism to just translate that up to an explosive
I saw
dunk.
what you did there. God, I saw what you did there, Ritz.
Hey, we have some fun with this. Why not, man?
Well, in the actual cast, the announcers were like, "Oh, so what's the range for this guy? Just throw it up anywhere between the top of the basket and the rafters, and he'll go get it."
Oh yeah. But I mean, more importantly, those dunks fire up the team, and then it just translates like a positive feedback loop. And then they go down and play tough defense. I mean, I think like the Yellow Jackets, down the stretch, they missed 14 of the last 15 shots. I mean, we just shut them out. Banks for Georgia Tech was good. I mean, he's a very long defender, and I think he was given Carey, a little bit of trouble. There's difference between tall guys and tall and long guys. Jay Billis wingspan. But I think that was something Carey hadn't seen, which gave him a little bit of trouble, and he also had to defend against that too, because it's quicker to sort of jump to get high, just to like a guy can raise his arms and be taller than you. It's a little trickier to defend, but I mean, I think he got used to it, by the end of the game, so you're able to hold Banks off a little more.
Yeah, you made a great point there with the energy. It's like the Zion Williamson effect.
Yeah.
From last year, right? So, there was here's a couple more Stanley shots. This is basically the highlight montage from Mr. Stanley from last night. So, I mean, he's got the inside game there. And then this is still in the first half here. I mean, just taking his man off the dribble.
And he's not afraid to get into the lane, which is awesome. Like he attacks the basket, which is a really great trait to have, especially for someone that young.
This is the Gerald Henderson, like coming, like the return of Gerald Henderson. Like when we were in school, the chant in Cameron was "Fly, Gerald, fly."
Yeah.
Right? Like that was the thing. And like and he has the record for the highest vertical. He beat Zion's vertical. Like, come on. Oh, he did. There was one more here. I call this one Crazy Josh. Like, I don't know what he was doing. Like, look at him during this thing. He's got these like crazy mannerisms. And here, like, he's just like holding up a 20. Look at him go.
Whoa.
Look at him go.
Whoa. Careful.
Look at him go.
So they were using like play call cards.
Yes, right. This was weird.
And it's weird because like I've seen coaches when they come to like Cameron do that because it gets so loud you literally can't yell out a play to your team. But like usually there's like just hand signals, which I thought was weird. Like these are like 2-digit numbers. You could also just be like 22. Like so I don't know why he's holding up it was strange. And apparently this was in what
well he's doing it here.
So yeah, see, that's weird. I don't know. Apparently they actually had a sellout crowd for this game.
Yeah, it is. It was 8,600 on the attendance.
Yeah,
nice. Good for them. That's awesome.
So there's the crazy Josh. Actually, I guess the next topic was go to GTHC. We covered GTHC anyway. That was the there's crazy Josh. I do have an interesting play I wanted to bring up. Here is, and because I bring this up because I was at the game on Saturday. I hadn't come home from vacation yet because I didn't want to work. And we stayed in Miami for the game. And oddly enough, they have a very nice, the Hurricanes have a very nice athletic complex. Their baseball stadium is Alex Rodriguez Field, obviously. Yep. It makes total sense, right? And then they like the center where they sell the tickets. Well, there's the Watsco Center, and so my mom pulls up to the Watsco Center here, and there's a nice student. I think most of the students were off on break, but there's a student there behind the window. I guess his job's the tickets, and I walk up and like I'm totally serious. I'm like not even thinking. I was like, hey man, like what's going on? Good afternoon. Like I was wondering, are there any tickets left for the Duke game? I was. And he just gives me this like weird look, and I was like, "Oh, I mean, like the game on Saturday, actually." Like lo and behold, leave it to the Duke fan, so, like going around to like opponents' venues, saying, "Hey, by the way, when's the Duke game?" When we're the away team, and then he politely points me off to the student athletic facility, or like the equivalent, I guess, of that new building they built down in Duke. The name is escaping me at the moment. The one with the ticket office in it across the
what is it?
Maybe Chad can help us. God, none of us can remember.
We've only been in
Duke's
it like
office.
10, 15,
we only had
20.
card access, right? Like
yeah, right.
Whatever. Anyway, they have a nice bit, and so like the lady was nice there and gave us some really good tickets. But anyway, I bring this up because at the end of the Miami game, we ended up scoring on the final play of the half. We do the same thing here. This is actually a rather interesting play, I think, because look who's on the court. There is no Vernon Carey. Granted, I think he has 3 fouls at this point. So they may have removed him, but still, you would put him back because they had just called a timeout. So this is a set play, and you would probably put him back in if you wanted. You could put him back in if you wanted to. But it's Trey Goldwire, Matthew Hurt, Alex O'Connell, and Joey Baker.
Shooter.
Exactly. This is a look that we have not seen from Duke in a long time. A 5-person lineup that can literally hit a 3 from any position. Like we didn't have that with Zion Williamson. We didn't have that the year before. I can't even remember at this point. With the Brandon Ingram years. We didn't have it with the Jason Tatum years. Like we literally have not had this since maybe the 2015 team when, and then I guess you had Okafor, which doesn't really count, but you could hit with Winslow, you could hit with Trey, you could hit with Quinn Cook, and
Matt Jones.
Exactly. So like we have not had this many offensive threats from 3 on the floor at the same time in God knows how long. So I found this really interesting because you go small here and you end up, and basically Matthew Hurt ends up setting a pick and roll as if he was Vernon Carey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Jones decides not to take it, passes it to Goldwire, who gets into the middle of the field, and then Matthew Hurt just kind of slips out here and puts up this three, and he just drills it. But look how spread out the entire Georgia Tech defense has to. They're playing man here, but the paint is actually wide open in this case. If Jordan Goldwire wants to drive here, it's just he's got two men on him. Anyway, that was the play of Georgia Tech. Here's the play from Miami the week before, or the day before. So again, this is slightly different because Vernon Carey is in this one. And then you end up having Wendell Moore in here as well. He was out for this game, so I believe you just end up putting Joey Baker in. But similar play here. So Wendell Moore is going to try to drive. Look at what spot he's in, right in the middle, and the pass. And Matthew Hurt, right? Or am I crazy here, gents? This looks very similar. Hold on, I lost my pen. Where's the epic pen? God damn it. Oh, forget it.
No, this happens all the time. Sometimes in when guys are in the far corner, sometimes in certain positions I get when you don't have the scale, you kind of look like Joey Baker and Hurt and O'Connell kind of look the same until you see the number.
But this looks exactly like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you just move, I got to move the arrows, right? You got Alex.
It's weird. No, it's actually mirrored on if you go back to the other one.
Oh, okay.
Because Hurt set the screen and then popped out.
Yeah.
Well, look where Carey is. Carey kind of just hangs around the elbow. If Carey had popped, that's where Hurt was. And then he slid down to being the other guy. He slides down to the corner. So it's a mirror image of what we see in the previous video.
And this is why this is why you do the breakdowns and not me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there you go. So he's
See there. If Carey pops out, that's the kickback to Hurt, and then Hurt just is more inclined to slide to the corner just because it happens to be more open. They're just reading the defense at this point. If you go back to this one, what is that? Is that Joey over in the corner?
Joey's in the corner.
Joey's in that far corner. He's in that far corner. And if the defense had reacted differently, he could have hung down there more, and then he's in the same place where Hurt is on the other play.
Oh yeah, it is.
He's just the guy in the corner is just kind of reading the defender of whether he should slide up to the wing or go down. So.
Yep, because they're on this side. So.
But yeah, the play has options, and they're kind of the guard driving down the middle. He can go back or he can go to the corner. I mean, it's good to have options. Or if they try to defend, then he has the floater right there in the middle. So.
Yeah,
good eye, Ritz.
I thought this was fascinating because it's essentially the same play and it works both times. And so because in both cases Kay calls timeout right before this and they set the same play up. So clearly it worked in Miami. I guess they just went right back to it and decided to execute it again. I do think that this form of the play is more effective because of the options here. Although Vernon Carey was perfect from three for a lot of the season. So I guess he can shoot the three.
He's still leading us in 3-point percentage.
There you go. He's still leading us in 3-point percentage.
57.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I thought that was rather interesting on how the play was executed there.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that kind of wraps up the.
I want to add one thing. I want to say you did allude to a good point about now having where we can kind of score.
Hold on. Whoops. Oh, hold on. I lost the Discord.
The game.
Oh, so wait. Time out. I lost you guys. You're back.
Are we back?
Hold on. My Discord decided to just go absolutely crazy. All right, you're back. From the top.
Cool.
From the top, Ritz, go.
So I saw that this was the 9th game this season that at least 4 Duke Blue Devils have scored double digits. So it's nice that we're having more of these games where it's a spread out and there's a good solid 4 guys that are contributing like that with, again, like we've discussed before, the potential for any one of them to go off for 20 in a given night.
Yep.
But there's always just guys like right there or right beneath the surface, just ready to step up at the right points of a game. We've also 6 consecutive games in a row, we've held teams to like less than 65 points. So even when our defense lets up for 10 minutes of the game, overall we're still keeping that score way down. So
we're doing a Virginia, a UVA.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which also lost. I mean they're not ranked as high this year, but now they've lost 3 times. Oh, we had a question in chat last night that I promised I would ask here on the stream, which was, who do you trust more, Baker or AOC? That was my response too. I was like, well, I got to think about that one. That's a tough one to take live.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like if it was in a given moment, if a ball was thrown to a player and I would instantly read what the play was, I think Baker, when he's like open and catches the ball, like I'm like, that's going in. AOC, if he like gets the ball and there's someone close to him or he has to make like a dribble or something, I would defer to that more at the moment. I feel.
I think, again, I would take both because they're both on my team, and of course I want to see them both be successful. However, right now I would take Baker for the same reason. If he's able to just catch and shoot, his catch and shoot is pretty impressive. But the other thing that I've noticed from Baker a little bit more is his defensive intensity.
Interesting. So you would trust him on the defensive side?
I actually would, yeah. When he's come in and actually played extended minutes on the defensive end, he does pretty darn well. And that's not saying that AOC doesn't do well, but I think he brings a little bit more tenacity on defense.
Yeah.
And so I think I like that from him a lot more than what AOC is bringing. However, they're not the same player, so let's not have to always pick and choose between our guys. They're going to shine when they're going to shine. We just have to make sure we put them in the best situations to be successful.
Yeah, and last night it was Cassius. Actually, so one last thing on Cassius Stanley. I looked in the archives. This is pretty neat. So because we've been doing the show now for a while, if you recall, we did a show over the summer, which broke down all the recruits.
Oh yeah.
And this was the segment that we did on Cassius Stanley.
And these videos for Cassius Stanley.
All right. I had never heard of this kid. And this kid, one word, he's explosive. He's explosive. I mean, apparently, so he's on the,
I don't know if
he's
you
on
guys
this
team.
team.
It's been a senior season. This team called Siena, I think it was.
Oh,
they're out in California. He's a West Coast kid, and all this team does is run up and down the court.
I'll trust you if you tell me that.
Yeah,
that was like literally the entire mixtape.
Who did it? Was it him or was it
his
me?
team running up and down the court, dunking like crazy on everyone?
Was it?
Like,
oh yeah,
they were
then I gotta
like
see
one of the most
wow,
fun teams to watch
whatever.
in high school basketball. So it was me because I said what I was saying. I'll shut the audio off on this one. I mean, look, we called this. I basically said I have one word to describe this kid, and it's explosive from the beginning. And that I was trying to make my case about why, like, how explosive he was, and then we showed the mixtape, and like, this kid is off the rails. Like, this kid can fly. I even slowed it down there for you. Look at that. Oh, look at that! See, I hadn't even. That was crazy. I'm surprising myself even. Because I said when they do that vertical thing, he's gonna jump out of the gym, which is exactly what he did.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh wow, this is
claps for you on that.
Look at this!
That's well done.
I was like, this is the kid that I'm excited to watch. There's Trey Jones, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a play from last night.
Just throw it where no one can get it.
And remember, he was our, besides Matthew Hurt, he was like our late addition to our recruiting class too. Like, we didn't even talk about him. He wasn't even on our radar until after the season. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, Duke's going in for Cassius Stanley. And then, oh, Duke gets Cassius Stanley. And we're like, oh, well, cool. And then we lose Boogie Ellis and all that other stuff, but whatever.
That's all right. We're all good.
We're all good.
So I thought that was pretty neat. You can go back to the archives. It was right here on Relive Sports over the summer where we called it, and so Cassius Stanley showing up big time. That was pretty sweet. It's nice when we have all this content to talk about. Justin, the resident
Yes.
doctor. This is your
Physical
segment, buddy.
therapist.
Physical therapist, doctor. That's okay. Just take it. It's an MD. Dr. Lochal, Wendell Moore has a broken finger.
Yes.
And it happened at the Miami game, and I think I saw it happen, and I was like, God damn it.
I tried to go back, and I didn't see the exact play, but I think I vaguely remember the play, and he was kind of shaking out his hand. So he continued to play, he finished out the game, but it was the next day he started to note pain and swelling over his fourth metacarpal, which if you look on the screen, these are not his x-rays. These are x-rays and pictures that we got from the AAOS website, the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons. And so this is actually a fractured on the screen, a fractured fourth metacarpal. And so if you make a fist, the metacarpal is this piece right here. You can almost feel a slender bone, and he fractured it somewhere along there. Don't know exactly where. Generally, they're associated with about the same healing time. Some can be prone to a little bit more stiffness than others if it's closer to the joint versus further away from the joint. But again, all unknowns. But he did undergo surgery. And so generally what they'll do is they'll plate it similarly to the picture on the right with a small plate, a couple screws, and that just sets the fracture and then allows it to heal. And so typical timeline of healing, so this is just strict physiologic healing, is probably within the 6 to 8 week range for just strict healing. For just strict healing.
Puts us in March.
Mm-hmm. Now that can be accelerated depending upon a lot of different factors, depending upon how big the fracture was, if it was complete, if it was not. All of those are unknowns that unfortunately I can't really go into. And so the nice thing about this is the metacarpal doesn't really make up any of your wrist motion. So currently he may or may not be in a cast. And if he is, he might be in a removable splint where he's able to come out, keep his wrist moving, and start doing some exercise to just maintain the dexterity in his hand and in his fingers. And then once they feel comfortable with bone healing, he'll start to do just some local hand strengthening and then getting the ball back into his hands. So again, you're probably going to see him back practicing in probably about 6-ish weeks, give or take a few, as long as there's no complications, and then returning to the court at any time after that within 6 weeks to 4 weeks or 6 to 10 weeks total back on the court playing. So all up in the air. We don't know. We'll get updates probably in the next couple weeks from Coach K.
So do they leave the metal thing in?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that was going to be my question.
Oh, really? I was like, this is a really stupid question.
Sometimes they can go back in and take them out after enough healing and time has occurred, especially if it's like puffing out on the skin or anything. But that's just up to the surgeon and the player, really.
Wow, so you have like a metal finger there.
Yeah. They do similar things down in like the shin. So if you fracture your tibia and your fibula, you're going to get a similar plate, just a little bit bigger with bigger screws, just to hold things together.
Right. And so, Eric, here's my question to you: is the impact on the team?
Yeah.
For having Wendell out.
I mean, one, it's definitely another body that can play minutes. Those minutes have to go somewhere. I don't have in front of me what he's been averaging per game. But I mean, he's been like a decent defender. He's 6'4". He's a strong guy. He's been able to match up well against other guys. He's been a decent offensive presence, shown up at times. So I mean, it's definitely a role that's going to be missing. I think we'll be okay against several ACC teams without him. when it comes to playing like Louisville or something like that, a tougher opponent, it would be nice to have that extra tool just that we're missing. But I mean, at least there's a chance that he comes back, reasonably quick, like you said, in March. And when he does, the thing about, a hand injury is that, he can still run and stay in shape and stuff. And he'll be doing, he can do some, drills as like, and some kinds of stuff and still be able to walk through plays and stuff in some capacity. So, it's a shooting hand, right? Because he's
I believe so.
Yeah. So I mean, like that is a little annoying. If he had broken his like left one, because then that's just the hand that you're, I guess using for defense or rebounding, and it's more just about catching and stuff and dribbling, I guess. But like you said, it doesn't impact the wrist. But yeah, I mean, I think we can hang without him for a while. But we're gonna miss him in little ways here or there.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, moving right along. So the topic, the discussion, number one in the country has been a rotating door, if you will. 6 teams so far this season have claimed the number one spot. Michigan State lasted all of 1 game. Kentucky lasted all of a week, and I think that might have been a game against Evansville.
It's because the polls didn't come out until the next Monday.
Duke, we lasted 2 weeks, so fares relatively better. Then SF Austin happened. Louisville lasted 2 weeks and then lost. Kansas lasted all of a week, and Gonzaga has now had it for the last 3. And I'm not going to go on my Gonzaga rant because we don't need to do that tonight. But they will eventually lose at some point because that's just the way the world works. Anyway, who is actually We've gone about halfway through the season, and there was even some discussion. I think it was Jay Billis. Was it on Saturday night? Yeah, in the game against Miami. I was watching some of the replay. He's like, the dominant teams hadn't showed themselves yet. We are now in the midst of conference play. Like, who are the dominant teams in college basketball?
Yeah, I mean, well, you're definitely right about it not showing, and I think even when teams like start to show it, if they start to emerge during conference play, it's also going to be tough to almost discern because of some conferences. It depending on the matchups being tough. I mean, like because the number one ranking, in the rankings, it has some impact from wins and losses, and you have 2 really good teams that could potentially be vying for it, and they have to play each other. Then one of them is going to lose, one of them's going to go down. But then that could flip if they play each other a second time, or come ACC tournament time, who's actually going to be better a couple of weeks later. Maybe it's just who showed up that night versus who's the better team overall when you talk about a season aspect. I think a lot of teams are honestly still developing this year. From even some of the top teams that I see, like no one was out of the gate like set like this is who we are. Let's run. So they're all definitely still showing up. I mean, even we're still developing and show periods of weakness still, but those are being reduced over time. And that's what I like about us is that we're still seeing a lot of growth. I wish that I need to start watching more non-Duke games, to be honest. Because gotta get informed now come bracket time to see some people's vulnerability.
Yes, because we will have a full-blown bracketology show.
Yes.
And
that'll be fun.
We will rerun our contest here, hopefully with more contestants this year, and your dad won't win it.
That's true. Well, and one other thing, there's only 2, if I'm correct, there's only 2 undefeated teams left. And they're not.
That's right.
San Diego State and Auburn. And they haven't even been considered for the number 1 ranking. And so.
But Auburn is in the top 5.
They are in top 5. They've had to climb into the top 5.
A lot, yeah. They've climbed a lot.
They've climbed a lot, and they haven't yet played Kentucky, so they're not necessarily into the meat of their conference schedule just yet. And so we'll probably see the similar trends where over time along conference season, we're going to get some consistent play from the better teams, the Dukes, the Kentuckys, Kansas. Gonzaga is going to do their thing in their conference like they always do. And you'll see some flip-flopping in the rankings. I think when it comes down to bracketology at the end, the top 8 seeds, probably not much is going to separate them. And so the conference championships are probably going to weigh in a lot more this year than they ever have, in terms of, if you want to be a number 1 seed, you better win your conference tournament championship to show that you can do it, versus Duke losing in like the quarterfinals, but
backing
and getting still a 1 seed because we've got this stellar roster, which we do have we have a great roster, but it's not what it was necessarily like last year, where you've got essentially almost all lottery picks, across the board. So it's going to be continuing to be a revolving door throughout the rest of the year. We're going to see a lot of jockeying.
Yeah, and your point about Auburn. So recall, for the folks in chat, this is an Auburn team that made it to the Final Four last year, and still under Bruce Pearl. I don't quite recall who left the team, but he seems to have the majority of it still intact. So they're definitely a threat, and they've done it. So yeah.
Well, because Auburn, they also had a guy that got injured.
Who blew his knee.
I think he left. He left though.
He left though. Okay, because I remember he got injured, and they're where they're at, even like without him in this game. But okay, I'd have to go look up his name. I mean, I knew him all last year, but
so Justin, you were going to make the case that Duke is the best team in the country, which is fitting for a Duke show.
Right. So
have at it.
If we look at the Ken Pom ratings for teams, shush,
go for it.
Shush. So Ken Pom currently has us.
I love this.
As, if I'm not mistaken, they have us as the number 1 rated team. With the adjusted efficiency margin of +30. The next team is Kansas at +29. So again, not much is separating the teams. But if you look at our offensive and defensive rating, we're 4th. So adjusted offense, we're 4th, and adjusted defense, we're 4th. And that is stupid good. Like,
can you
that
explain
is fantastic.
Adjusted offense and adjusted defense?
So basically, adjusted offense it's their metric of our points scored per 100 possessions, but they do some conversions and adjustments based on who you're playing. So you get more for playing a tougher team. So your Michigan States, your Kansases, so on and so forth, versus Boston College. No offense, Boston College.
Sure.
Who's that number 1 in the offensive category and in the defensive category?
So surprisingly, offensive number 1 in Ken Pom is Michigan State at 115.8.
Wow.
But
really?
Here's our number, 114.6.
Oh.
So again, that's not, if you probably were to run stats on that, that's not a statistically significant difference. There's no difference between these teams in that stat, really. So you're basically number 1 if you wanted to say it. Now, adjusted defense, which is, according to Ken Pom, that's our defensive efficiency, which is our points allowed per 100 possessions, again, adjusted for how good your opponent is. And we're giving up 84.3 points per 100 possessions, according to this. And that's 4th.
Right.
And no surprise, the number 1 team is Virginia.
Yeah.
Still, yep. Despite that, they still don't give up a lot of points. It's just what they do. However, so their adjusted defense is 83.2 points. Ours is 84.3. So again, there's really minimal separation, like we were talking about. There's no team that has just separated themselves. But the other reason that I think we are the number 1 team is currently leading in player efficiency rating, according to sportsreference.com, which is just a combined metric of how efficient a player is when he's on the court. And that is Vernon Carey Jr. at a rating of 37. Last year, the most efficient player was Zion Williamson at 40.8. So not necessarily too far behind Zion. And we can all admit Zion was a stupid efficient player when he was on the court.
Yeah, he was.
Yep.
And there's been talk now of Vernon Carey also and leading sort of the player of the year. Which
and
is
Vernon's
surprising.
averaging 23 minutes. 23 minutes a game, and he's averaging 18 points at about a little under 9 rebounds, give or take. So he's almost at a double-double in 23 minutes of work, which is 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes behind Trey Jones. Trey Jones is averaging 33 minutes. Vernon's averaging 10 less minutes and still putting up great numbers. So he's a truly efficient, and he is a special player. He's special in his own way, different than what Zion and RJ and Cam were.
So put this one in your back pocket. I almost put this up as a topic earlier in the season, but it was too early. I do think it's worth debating Vernon Carey versus Zion Williamson at some point later down, like closer to tournament time, as when we can sort of judge the full body of work.
Mm-hmm.
Because to your point, there seem like times where it looks like the offense runs better this year than it did last year. Like
it's fluid.
It's fluid. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fluid.
Things don't get stuck. Anyway.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm actually surprised that he's averaging 23 minutes. If you had asked me to guess a number, I would have put it way closer to 30 easy, because it just feels like he's there more often. He has a much stronger presence than 23 minutes a game for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other person averaging 23 minutes is Cassius Stanley.
That one makes sense to me. That one makes sense. And I know, like, over the weekend we had a lot of conversations with the family that they're like, we have 3 guys. You got Trey, you got Vernon, you got Cassius, and then you need a fourth one, which should be in theory Hurt, right? But it could be Joey, it could be Alex, it could be Delorier. Jack White needs to figure it out.
Hurt's averaging 22 minutes. Yeah. So it's everybody is like minimally separated. So they're all contributing within minutes and then their individual stats along the way. So everyone's got a role, and it's not like they're just role players, but they've got key roles in the offense, and the defense, which is why I think it moves a little bit more fluidly than it did last year.
So here's the final question. Can we really call Duke the best team in the country when they're shooting 50% from the free throw line?
Oh, God, that is so bad.
I mean, it's the one. Terrible. I mean, it's the one thing that puts like when we're up like 4 points, we're still you still have to be on the edge of your seat. Versus if we're shooting even 70, 75% would be amazing. Then I'm like, we're up by 4, like done, cool. Start checking what's coming up next. I mean that's how it used to be. If you're up by 4 with under 2 minutes left, I would just be like, cool, Duke is gonna pull this thing out because they have to start fouling us, and we're just gonna drain everything. And that's what keeps. I mean, that's honestly what's keeping other teams like in it. You don't see sometimes that collapse, that mental collapse and like breakdown when they're like, hey, if we're close. In the last couple of minutes, we have a shot because Duke could go cold.
Look, and I mean, Georgia Tech, you could say they hung into this game, like, because they shot 87% they had 13 free
15,
throws. 13 out of 15.
Wow,
yeah.
That's great.
To our 11. Usually we make more than the opponent takes. Like, that used to be the thing.
Yeah.
God.
It's been our Achilles heel for the past like 5-6 years almost.
Well, yeah, I think we've solved the 3-point shooting problem, as we discussed earlier when we had that play that we looked at. But damn, wow,
it's an issue. It's an issue. Yeah,
there's just no other way to say it. It's bad. It's bad. All right. Final topic of the night. I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. I hope the folks in chat enjoy this one. Actually, we're looking at this. Here you go. This is just going to be. This is a fun one. Cool. So because the Duke Blue Planet or the Duke YouTube, basically they did a lot of these decade type videos over the weekend, or for the new year, and I thought this one would be really fun to go to. It's only 6 minutes. Not like there's like the top 10 games, which is like 20. Maybe we'll do that one once.
I watched that.
Yeah, but the cool thing is we've seen all of these. Like, we have been Duke fans and like alive and like cognizant of what's going on for the entirety of this.
Okay,
right?
I got you.
Yeah. I mean, we were in school for some of it too. So
I was gonna say, and we're not, 11. Yeah.
Right, and we're not like 11. So we actually know what's happening. So there's some I'm surprised that aren't in here, but anyway, so this one is against Virginia. And it'll play at some point. Why it's not playing?
Cook,
wins.
Yeah.
This is the 2015
Anderson came off on ball side.
So that was my first year at Duke. I remember I was in my cave watching that game. We were doing terribly. I think we had lost like 1 or 2 in a row, and it was starting to just go bad where we couldn't stop anyone. And Virginia had this like mighty team, and then we just walked in there, weren't playing well, and then come back.
Yeah. Yes, it says what a comeback on the road is exactly what that was. Kulik 21 in chat. Thanks for hanging out, man. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we enjoy doing the post game. Okay, this one is from last year, and of course, I got to rewind that because that is this has swagger written all over it. Like there's no other way. Like look at that.
He just steps into that thing with so much
icing
confidence.
on the cake that wrecked the Louisville season.
Mm-hmm. They were up by what, 20 something?
21?
Oh yeah.
No, 26.
Way back.
Yeah, Cam Reddish had just a stupid great game. That was when Goldwire emerged as a defensive stud. And since then, he was plugged in to the defense regularly.
This game here, Matt Jones. Emil Jefferson's still here. This is Emil Jefferson, Luke Kennard. Against a tough Notre Dame team. This was the ACC championship. That's right.
Yep.
Duh.
That was Jay Tatum year.
That's right. I remember where I was. I was at a bachelor party when we were watching that.
Matt Jones was always like fantastic at like hitting the clutch 3 when you had gone like a couple games with not thinking that he was going to hit a 3 anytime soon, and then he would just come and hit the most pressure 3 ever.
Yeah. That was awesome because that was the 4 games in 4 days.
Yep.
Was what that was.
The full run, yeah.
The full run, because that was also the year where we were like, Duke's going to fall out of the rankings. It's panic time. And that was the 4 games that was the cap off to the 4 games in 4 days. This one from Florida State, just it's a beauty from Cam Reddish. Reddish! Bang! I wish we had called that game.
That would have been fun.
We have the highlights of this here because I think we did this game after the fact. I think
we did.
In real life. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it was a great inbounds play.
Oh man,
Zion was out for the majority of that game. I think he took
in the second half,
to like the eye. Yeah.
Yep. Reddish. Oh my goodness.
The kid is clutch. In the moments when we needed him, he hit a shot.
That was cool. There's some. So one of them that's not in here is the Luke Kennard one that we saw at Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Remember?
I remember. Oh man, that was so much fun.
Well, I will put that one in the back pocket when we get done. And this is Duke Carolina. This is I believe this is Jay Tatum. Oh my goodness, yes it is. He's been doing this in the NBA ever since he left. My God, just putting the Carolina guy on a poster here. Whew. However, I will never forget the dribble off the foot. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oldie but a goodie here. This is going. Look, the underneath is even like the old style. This is the 2010 team. Uh-oh. For some reason, Discord keeps bugging out on me. It like keeps crashing.
We're so close. We're so close.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. We're back.
We're back. All right.
This would have been one of the first top plays of the decade because
this was one of the first top plays of the decade.
2010.
Sure. Yeah. ACC championship there, and they win the ACC championship, then go on to win the whole thing.
Yep.
This was the start of the run,
which was later followed by one of the not top 10 play or top 10 plays, which is the Butler shot not going in from 3/4 down the court.
Which turns out to our top 10 play. Yeah.
Oh, goodbye.
Helicopter. Goodness.
Flawless.
Sensational.
Mm-hmm.
Spectacular, man.
285 pounds just shouldn't be able to do that easy.
No. Oh my goodness.
Unreal.
Goodness gracious. Wow.
It was fun. That was fun to watch. God, he's so good.
Again and again and again.
Number 3, I don't even remember which number 3 is.
Oh, Grayson
Allen. Yeah, this play is in here. Yes, we were right there. We should rewind this thing. Hold on.
The hang time that lasted forever.
I remember. So were we even ranked during this game? I don't think we were.
We can go back and check it out.
Yeah. Because I know that season was the first time in I don't even remember how long that we dropped out of the rankings.
You want to see how wild this is? All right, chat, get ready. Hold on to your seatbelts. That's me.
Hey, there he is.
Right there.
I was sick. I didn't get to go to this game. I was going to be...
Did you not?
No, I started... The night before, I was at a party, and I wasn't even drinking, and the next thing you know, I just got completely sick.
Where are you, Russman?
All right. Trivia fact. To the left of Ritz's arrow, you see the Virginia defense, and you see the two guys standing up with the blue shirts and the white D's on their chest.
Yeah,
that's Jaleel Okafor and
Tyus.
Tyus Jones.
Nice.
I know this because you can't see me because I'm behind Jaleel Okafor.
That's it. I was like, Eric, where are you? Because you were definitely at this game.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's why I was like, see that play because all of a sudden Jaleel stands up and I'm like, shit,
I can't see. No, sit.
And you're right. This is Forest right here. That is Forest.
I knew it.
Yeah, this is wild. See how wild that is? We were part of the whole thing. There you go. Run it. I remember this like it was yesterday. This is just a spectacular play by Grayson Allen because we had given up the lead. We had given it up.
Oh man.
I remember they had to review that so many times.
No, they didn't. They didn't because they would have called the travel. Oh, they reviewed it for the buzzer.
Yeah.
That was wild. Oh, this is the miss.
Oh yeah.
The infamous miss. Of course, I remember. I know exactly where I was.
I was in undergrad during this.
Yeah. Rivers. Bang.
Dude.
Oh. We had all but given up on this game. Oh man. Hand down, man down. Tar Heel down.
Austin Rivers, so good, often very frustrating. Man, just
but forever immortalized.
Legend. And there was nothing that epitomized the way he played more than that shot. Just pretty much. I'm gonna hold this and take a 3-point shot over the other team's basically 7-footer, and no questions asked, and just drains it, and you're just like,
cool.
All right, good.
One of the greatest aerial shots that a photographer caught from that game that I personally like to use in my Facebook cover every March Madness, which is the Dukies fly together as they just look like birds running across the UNC logo of the state of North Carolina.
This definitely is the. There you go. There's the dagger.
Tyus.
The dagger from.
Wasn't that the Sports Illustrated cover? Just
It was, yeah.
This one?
You got it. Nope, I can't see it. Can't see it.
Hold it to the camera, man. It's what
camera. There you go. There it is.
It's a different camera for the folks on stream. Yes, you talked about Matt Jones being clutch. That, Tyus Jones, the most clutch Duke player, for sure, of the decade. I'm not going to go of history because that's probably Christian Laettner. Actually, it's definitely Christian Laettner.
It's Laettner.
It's definitely Christian Laettner. But of the last decade, it was Tyus Jones. So I thought that see, we were there for basically all of it. That was cool. I love it. All right, gentlemen, any final thoughts here? Any final thoughts from chat as we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, excited for some more basketball. Game on Saturday.
The game is on Saturday. It's against Wake Forest. It's on the ACC network, which means we may as well just stream it here. So
yeah, probably.
I think it's 8:00 on the ACC network. So what we're gonna do? So this should be fun. We will commentate the Duke game live, and then we will be watching Lamar Jackson during the timeouts. So we'll give you reaction for both games. It's gonna have a 2-for-1. You're gonna get the NFL playoffs and Duke all in one. And yeah, so make sure to come around right here, 8:00 Eastern, 5:00 Pacific on Real Life Sports against Wake Forest. And the last time, hold on, do I have this? The last time we had a thing at Wake Forest versus Wake. Yeah, we have this. Oh, actually, no, it's not voiced over. We had The Power of K Compels You was the infamous clip. Yes. So that one was way too close for comfort. I don't think it's going to be the same way. We're just probably going to blow them away this time. May as well.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully.
At home. Duke returns home, and it should be a good one. All right, for all of us here at Real Life Sports, Ritz, Eric, Justin, thank you very much for hanging out tonight. Appreciate it. Make sure to bring your friends and the fellow Blue Devil fans as we keep growing the stream. We're here for you guys and Duke, so make it happen. Go Blue Devils. We'll see you on Saturday. Cheers.
See you guys. Go Duke.